Good morning and welcome to Start the Week Stamping. I'm Linda Ellis from lindaspapercraft.co.uk and I'm just going to show you a card that we made in our technique class that I hold locally in Sale in Cheshire. I have a really dry mouth today, I'm really sorry, I will be slurping my coffee. So I made this card to show people just how easily you can adapt your dies and use them in different ways. So this card is made using just one die, one sheet of 6x6 DSP and then just a scrap of basic white. So the supplies I've used, this is the die. It's from this die set, which is the Ornate Layers dies, and you get 8 dies, and as it says, they are very ornate, they are beautiful, they cut beautifully as well. They were £34. They're retiring at the beginning of May and they are now selling at £27.20. So that's a nice discount at the moment. If you haven't already treated yourself to them, you can go and get them. So the DSP I'm using, I've cut into 2 7cm strips. So it's from one piece of 6x6. As you can see, it's the same piece. And I've just cut them into 2 7cm strips. And then I've got a scrap of basic white, which is 7.5 by 10.5, and then a Night of Navy card base. You can write on Night of Navy, it will show up, or if you want to, you could add a 14.4 by 10cm piece of basic white inside to add a sentiment if you want. Right, so let's get started. Oh, just the other thing, the stamp, the thank you stamp, is actually from this one, the Flowing Flowers. This one you've got until the end of June to buy. A really pretty stamp, very useful, and I just love sending a card instead of a text. We should do more of that. Right, okay, so I'm going to get my die cutting machine, which is down here. And the first piece I'm going to cut is the biggest one. And that is just the die, as it is. I have just cut out in the Sahara Sand piece the full die. So, okay, so I'll pop that on there. Pop the die on top. Now, as much as you can on this one, because it's quite a small machine, I have tried to put it at a bit of an angle so you're not putting a straight edge straight into the machine. It just makes it a bit easier, a little bit easier to pop it through. Okay, so there's the first one, and that's nice and simple, just the die as it comes, no faffing about. Okay, and then I'm just going to get rid of all the bits out of this one. There we go. As I say, it does cut out beautifully. And then I'm going to get the second piece. Do make sure you get all your little bits of paper off your base plate, otherwise you'll end up with dents in your project. So we're then going back in again. And this time we're going to use the lighter piece of DSP. And we're still going to cut it the full size. And if you want to do maths and things, you can work out just how much of this you need. So, but for a quick video this morning, I'm just going to use the whole piece, and I'm just feeding that through again. Ooh, sorry, haven't had my Weetabix yet, clearly. Okay, there we go. And we'll pop that off again, get rid of all your little dots. And then this time I'm actually going to only cut part of it out. So just going to cut, and I did it's about 11.5. Now obviously I've got it here so I can measure it. You can use a ruler if you haven't. So I've just cut a snip off the top. So what I've actually done is I've taken my die and I have lined it up with the paper. Okay, so those holes are all lined up again. Okay, and I've popped that down on there so that they all line up with each other. Then we're going to pop our plate on top and pop that through again. Don't know where I am on my screen. I've just been moving around all over the place. There we go. Okay, and so you see now we have our second piece. How cool is that? Okay, so now for the sentiment. So I'm going to stamp that at the top of this piece of basic white using the Night of Navy. And now I tried it on my little one and it was a little bit tricky because we ended up with bits hanging off and it didn't like it. So I've actually moved to my big machine, so we're going to be using the power of television here. So if you look at my original card, you'll see that the sentiment itself is the die width apart. So all these are all the same width, and I think that makes the card look more balanced. So I'm just going to pop off and cut out the first beat of the sentiment like that. Just like this. Okay, so that's the first peak cut. And then I am going to poke out these little circles. The lid with the putty in has just landed in my coffee. See, what you see is what you get. Yeah. I shall deal with that momentarily. What's and all. Okay, so we'll just pop that through. Something quite satisfying going along and poking these out, I always find. Right, okay. There we go. So all the circles are out now. So now what I want to do is frame that piece. So this time I'm putting them on this way, roughly working out where I want it. So I'm thinking, is it those dots? Shall we go down? No, we'll stay where we were. There we go. Okay, so I'm now going to take that across to my big machine and cut it out. I'll be back in a moment. And here we are back, and I've cut that out on the bigger machine. And there we go, our sentiment piece. So all that's really left to do is to put the card together. So we will just pop those through. And I have literally glued the two pieces flat and then added the sentiments on dimensionals. There we go. So and just literally I've lined them up. You can line them up wherever you want, and then the third piece comes in on dimensionals, as you can see there. So nice simple card, just using one die, one sheet of DSP and one other colour. I hope you've enjoyed that. Bye.